Hello?
Ji-sun, ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to the scrum for G2 Broken Blade. We will be taking questions in English, Chinese, and Korean languages. So you may type your questions in the chat or you can use the Zoom hand raise feature and I will call on you. First question, Sergio from Correspondent. Since the opening minutes, you and Yankos seem to be dominating the top side. So where or when do you think the top side advantage was lost?
Yeah, we had a good lead in the early game. I think we played really well around the enemy top laner having no TP. We late invaded, and I think after we did the swap, Rumble kind of just romped the map, and he's way better than my champ at doing that. And I think they played really well. Like no matter if he was behind or not, if he's in the play and I'm not, then it doesn't matter how much gold I have, right? And I think that's how they played their disadvantage to an advantage, if that makes sense.
Next question from Sons of KS. What do you think about the general results of MSI since they are fighting from 3rd to 5th place? And who would you like to face in the knockouts?
I mean, it's definitely it's getting really interesting, actually. I think the standings are really close and tomorrow is going to be a banger day. Even though we just lost four games, I think tomorrow is going to look a lot different. For who we want to face, I don't think it actually matters. It just matters that we win, right? I would like to play against NA. I think that would be a funny match, a funny show match, kind of. But in the end, I don't really care who I play against, because in the end we will need to win against any opponent to win the trophy.
Next question from Sentinella. How have you seen the meta evolution this stage? What aspect did the most damage to your plans for this tournament?
I can't comment too much on that, but it is just normal that people try to do strats against each team, right? But I think the team that adapts the best in this tournament is gonna have the biggest advantage, just because there's just so few scrims we can play because there's so many game days. That just leads to us having to adapt to certain scenarios, because there can be scenarios where a champion suddenly becomes meta and we have to be able to play it no matter if you have practice on it or not. And I think the team that can do that is usually in a big advantage.
네, 한국 질문입니다. 오늘 PSG 탈론과 T1 경기에서 아쉬웠던 점과 앞으로 어떤 준비를 해야 될 건지에 대해 궁금합니다.
So in today's TSG game and also T1 game, what were the most disappointing points that happened in game, and also how we're going to prepare for the upcoming matches?
In the first game, I think it was that we were not really accepting that we're just weaker at that point, and then we tried to contest objectives that we were just not winning, and the enemies got way more ahead than they should be. In the second game, I think it was more so that I think we had like a pretty bad swap, which is also my bad. I think I called it, which where the game led to Aphelios coming back to the game very, very good, actually, because he got 5 played solo. And on top lane, they had a good play after with Rumble roaming. And then I think that's where we have to take care for next time. And I'm sure that won't happen now that it did happen these 2 games.
네, 첫 번째 경기에서는 이제 저희가 그 시점에 상대보다 더 약하다는 거를 좀 인정하지 않고 오브젝트 싸움을 한 게 큰 페인이었던 것 같습니다. 그래서 이제 상대방이 사실은 그렇게까지 강해질 게 아니었는데 더 강해져서 그런 게 잘 안 풀렸던 것 같고요. 두 번째 경기에서는 라인 수업 판단이 조금 안 좋았던 것 같습니다. 제가 내린 오더였는데요. 라인 수업을 하게 되면서 아펠리오스가 혼자 바텀에서 이제 포탑 방패를 5개 다 먹고, 그리고 이제 럼블이 또 이제 로밍을 하면서 좋은 플레이를 만들면서 상대방이 더 앞서게 되었는데요. 이런 거에 주의를 해야 할 것 같고, 이번에 한 번은 겪었으니까 다음에는 이제 안 생길 것입니다.
Next question from Clutch Points. Does the team struggle against PSG specifically, or were these 2 losses just unfortunate timing?
It's hard to say really because we only played them twice, right? And I do think they played to their strength, and I think we didn't play up to our standards to in those two games. I do think they play better in both of these games, and they deserve to win those games. But if you were to play them again, I'm sure we can just win just as much as they, even more, because I do believe that we're a stronger team. And I wouldn't call these two games unfortunate because we just did play worse, and we have to learn from them and overcome our struggles.
Next question from Correspondente. What does G2 need to do, in your opinion, to get back on track for this tournament?
What we need to do is just to find back our rhythm, right? We were doing really, really good prior to that. We had a really, really long win streak, which we obviously deserved because we did play well, right? We always had a good plan. We always had a good showing. We always play with confidence. And I think these couple of losses might have hurt us a bit. And it will just be important to, stand back up after we fell down, and I think after that, it will be fine,
네, 한국 질문 드리겠습니다. PSG전에 패배했는데요. 하나비 선수를 상대한 소감이 어떠신지 궁금합니다.
So, how was playing against Hanabi?
Hanabi, I used to play against him as well a couple of years ago. I don't think he's a bad laner at all. I think he's actually quite decent at what he's doing, what he's playing. Based off the experience, I think he can play a lot of champs. I think he can play them well. He can play carries. He can play AP champs. He can play AD champs. I don't know if he's the greatest I've played against. I think it is really great top laners in this tournament, but he's definitely up there, and it's fun to play against him. I think he definitely shows good signs of a good top laner.
하나비 선수는 이전에도 몇 번 상대해본 그런 선수인데요. 확실히 나쁘지 않은 그런 라이너라고 생각하고 굉장히 준수한 활약을 보여주고 있는 것 같습니다. 본인이 해야 하는 그런 플레이를 굉장히 잘하고 다양한 경험을 바탕으로 여러 가지 픽, 예를 들어서 캐리 픽, 뭐 AP, AD 다 가능한 그런 요소가 또 좋게 작용하는 것 같고요. 물론 제가 지금 MSI에서 상대해본 탑 라이너 중에 최강이라고 할 수는 없겠지만 아무래도 MSI에 강한 탑이 많기 때문에 그런 부분도 있고 그래도 여전히 하나비 선수도 잘하는 선수이고 좋은 탑으로서의 자질을 많이 갖고 있습니다.
네, 4연패 위기에 몰린 상황에서 내일 경기가 매우 중요하다고 생각하는데요. 어떻게 준비하실 건지 궁금합니다.
So given the current losing streak, tomorrow's matches are so decisive and important. So how are you going to prepare for tomorrow?
We're going to go back home and talk about the games just like we always do. Keep our routine. I think that's the most important. And don't look back on these losses. We all have to take what we can from them and take them with us for the upcoming games. I mean, it's not just a race, right? It's a marathon, how a lot of people say it. And I think it's kind of true. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to handle those losses well because we're also winning a lot usually. And yeah, I think if you learn from our mistakes that we're doing in these games, then tomorrow should be looking a lot more faithful.
이제 숙소로 돌아가서 이제 다 같이 게임 얘기하면서 좀 잘 복귀해야 될 것 같고요. 또 가장 중요한 건 또 이제 루틴 잘 지키면서 내일을 준비해야 될 것 같고 너무 패배한 부분에 대해서 많이 좀 마음 쓰지 않고 그냥 패배한 내용 중에서 배울 거 배우고 또 다가오는 경기에 적용하면서 그런 식으로 좀 패배를 잘 다루고 잘 헤쳐나가야 될 것 같습니다. 저희는 또 이기는 것도 잘 아는 팀이니까 저희가 했던 실수에서 많이 배우면서 그렇게 오면 내일은 더 약간 좋은 결과가 있을 것 같습니다.
네, 마지막 질문 드릴게요. 4연승 후 4연패 했습니다. 혹시 팀에 무슨 일이 있는지 궁금합니다.
So yeah, you started off with 4 wins and it's now on a 4 game or 4 match losing streak. So did anything happen or did is there something wrong inside of G2 in real life, or everything's good?
No, everything's good. I think that's just part of esports. You know, like you win games, you lose games, and we're right now on the track of losing games, and it's just up to us to, you know, step back up and take some wins. You know, I think it's just about enemy teams just outperformed us in those games, and they deserve to win. But it's up to us to decide if we're going to learn from those games or not. And I think this is a tournament where there are the best teams in the world, and they will pick up losers just as good as any other team, and they will learn from them. And I think it's up to us now to learn from our losses and take them with us to win the next games.
아니요, 그런 뭐 안 좋은 일이라든지 다 없고요. 괜찮고요. 그냥 e스포츠여서 그냥 자연스럽게 일어나는 일인 것 같습니다. 이제 이길 때도 있고 질 때도 있고 지금은 그냥 지고 있는 그런 상황인 것 뿐이고 다시 잘해서 이기면 되는 것 같아요. 상대가 분명히 저희보다 잘했고 상대가 충분히 이길만 했습니다. 이제 저희에게 달린 일은 그 패배를 통해서 배우고 발전하고 나아지는 건데요. 그렇기 때문에 많이 배우고 이제 저희가 물론 패배했지만 정말 세계에서 제일 강한 팀들이 맞붙는 자리에서 이제 승리자도 나오고 패배자도 나오는 그런 상황인 만큼 많이 잘 배우면서 적용해서 더 좋은 결과를 내는 게 중요할 것 같습니다.
队伍这2天经历了一段低谷，所以想问一下，现在大家的一个状态是如何的呢？ I think the G2 as a whole team, the games didn't go that smoothly for you guys for this couple of days. So could we know more about your thoughts on the whole team's form?
I mean, as I said earlier, I think it's about adaptation, and I think the other teams have adapted, and we didn't yet. And I think it's about us to have that phase as well, that adaptation phase. And I think keeps the teams keep on improving in those kind of tournaments. And I think it's up to us to take what we didn't from the wins, maybe, or I'm not really sure, but definitely we did do a lot of mistakes. That's why we lost 4 games in a row, and we just have to take everything what we did wrong and make them right in the next games.
那就像我之前有所说到的，我觉得可能更多的还是我们进行调整的一个问题。现在很多的队伍好像进行了很多的调整和改变，所以状态变得越来越好。但是我们到目前为止还是没有进行太多的一个改变，所以说可能在这一部分我们的一些步伐和节奏是需要进行改变的。那其实很多队伍也都在现在不断的去变得更好。那我觉得对于我们来讲，我们要从我们之前的胜利当中，可能是要去学习一些东西，然后把它运用出来。然后呢，在我们输掉的这些比赛当中，毫无疑问，我们是犯了比较多的一些失误的。所以说，在这些做错了的地方，我们可能也要把它们重新把它做对，然后呢，去更正这些错误，在接下来的比赛当中。那下一个问题是，认为队伍目前需要改进的地方在哪里呢？ So which part specifically do you think the whole team really need to make some improvements on in order to have a better performance in the future?
I think it's probably being more decisive. I think we've been lacking that in our games. I'm pretty sure even as a normal viewer, you can see that we didn't do decisive calls, decisive engages. And I think it's also about not being, again, like scared. I think it kind of matches the being decisive. And I also think we have to do better drafting. I think the drafts were not up to par to our standards. And play them well as well. I think that's also been lacking. And I think, again, adaptation when it comes to new picks that other people are playing, it's just important that we also pick them up, play them well, and execute, you know, and play decisive games, play decisive League of Legends. I think that's the most important. Yeah, because I do think we have 5 really strong individual players, and if you go in with confidence, we will usually win. So I'm not too worried.
那我觉得其实最重要的一点是我们好像需要变得更加的果断，在我们进行一些决策的时候，可能现在就对于我们来讲，哪怕是进行一些正常的操作，但我们可能所做的决策啊，或者说所进行的指挥，并没有那么的果断，并没有那么的果决，所以说我们很多时候没有办法去把我们的一个优势来扩大。那我觉得另外一个方面，可能我们的一些阵容的选择也需要进行改进。我们很多选下的一些阵容，但是我们可能并没有把它的一个强势完全能够发挥出来，我们并没有能够把它运用得很好。 然后呢，至于我们来想进行的一些改变，可能我们也想从其他队伍看一下他们拿到了哪些新的一些英雄的选择，然后我们也会去尝试着应该去拿它，然后呢，并且能够让它在实际的游戏当中去玩得很好。而且我觉得最重要的，我们还是应该变得更加的果断一些。我觉得我们还是要更加果断的来玩英雄联盟这个游戏，因为我相信我们 G2 我们有5位非常非常强力的队员，我们每个人的个人能力是很强的，所以说我还是有非常大的信心来面对接下来的比赛，我并没有非常非常的担心。
Okay, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, BrokenBlade.
Thank you.